We have a big problem in boxing. Gervonta Davis's trainer, Kenny Ellis, puts out a tweet, and Eddie Hearn makes a big admission about what they're doing being very, very, very bad for boxing and having harder times making fights, not easier ones. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. We got a problem, as Gervonta Davis's trainer, Kenny Ellis, put out an Instagram post and said that Gervonta Davis is the most feared lightweight in history, and alludes to the fact that people do not want to fight him, even though he is the big cash cow in boxing. That is a very strange situation to be in, but it's not surprising considering the absolutely ridiculously bad business sense that Turki, Alalsheik, Eddie Hearn, the rest of boxing is seemingly showing, which is having an effect that anybody could have seen coming. And it is the exact opposite effect of what they said they wanted to accomplish. And you know what that means. If you set out to do something and you accomplish the exact opposite, that's called hustling backwards, and it is a clear sign of incompetence. So what are we talking about? Before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a long time subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It makes a huge difference to the channel. Now, there was a statement that was made by Eddie Hearn, and it was an admission that things are not going as well as he thought that they would with this new influx of money coming in from Turki, Alalsheik, and it is resulting, in his words, let me make sure I get these words right. In his words, only in rehab season, the promoter said, this is Eddie Hearn, and I don't know how sustainable it is at the same time. Obviously, if the business is not working for those guys, it is more of an investment for exposure and obviously the rehab season brand. But I think it's probably a bit harder for us to make those bigger fights because of the perceived market value of those fights. What does this mean? He is speaking about the rehab season cards and the big fights that Turki, Alalsheik are bringing, and saying we don't know how sustainable it is because they're losing a bunch of money. They're doing it for marketing. But hey, man, it's also making it harder on us to make fights because of the increased perceived market value. So what does that mean? It means because Turki, Alalsheik has a reputation of paying a ton of money for things that aren't worth it, fighters are saying, hey, if you're going to overpay them, overpay me too. It's something called inflation. Now, let's relate that to what's going on with Gervonta Davis, where you have people that are saying, hey, I don't really know if I want to fight Gervonta Davis next because I might get mopped and I'll get the same amount of money fighting with the PBC as I would get, or maybe more than I would get fight in two fights, maybe not in one, but in two fights. And I would get fighting these really easy fights that nobody wants to see, but I get paid well for. So you wind up having William Zepeda, Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, These people making it more difficult to make the fights because they're not just going to Turki Alalsheik, but just rising their costs. Listen to what Brian Norman said. Brian Norman has never had paid more than $200,000 in his life for a fight, which is a lot of money, by the way. However, he says, hey, man, in order to fight Jaron Ennis, which is associated with Turki Alalsheik and Eddie Hearn, nah, man, I need about 2.8 million, man. You got to pay me more money than that. Hey, you out here paying Tyson Fury $100 million for Francis Ngannou. Hey, man, I know. You know what it's called? It's called See a Sucker. It's called See a Sucker, Play a Sucker. Winds up happening. But if you don't believe me, look back in history. There was the richest man in recorded history, Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was worth a West African king worth, according to modern estimates, over $400 billion. And he traveled to Mecca. And when he went from West Africa east, everywhere he went, he spent a ton of money. Guess what it did? It jacked up the price of everything because everybody had so much money that they had to compete for the simplest things when, hey, milk will go up to $100. Milk will go up to $100 a bottle if you have strict competition and a ton of money to buy it. It's crazy how that works. So Turki Alalsheik has now added that, and it's affecting all of the fights in the lightweight division. It's going to affect the ability to make big fights because you are, again, in the words of Eddie Hearn, you are increasing the perceived market value. Perceived, not actual. Perceived. Now, when actuality and perception don't match, what happens? You got all kind of problems. So this is just not good business. And I don't know whether or not people are afraid of Gervonta Davis or not, but if they can say, if Shakur Stevenson can say something like, yeah, I'm not going to fight Gervonta, I'm going to go chase the bag. What? Yeah, I'm not going to fight Canelo. I'm going to go fight the bag. I'm going to go chase the bag. Look at what happens with Terrence Crawford. I'm not fighting Jaron Ennis. Somebody's going to be around here to give me $10 million for David Abanesian. Somebody's going to be around here to give me $10 million for, or $15 million or whatever they claim he made for Israel Madmarov. So why would, I mean, you know how much you're surprised that Canelo Alvarez is asking for 200 million, 150 million, and Gervonta Davis saying, Turkey, give me two. Why don't you give me two Ferraris or two Lamborghinis to even talk to you? Give me two Lamborghinis just to talk to you. Why? Because see a sucker, play a sucker. It ain't worth two Lamborghinis to go walk up and talk to Gervonta for the potential just to talk about it. Nor is it worth $100 million to pay Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua for fights that ain't nobody asking for, or that don't earn that amount of money. Been telling people for a long time, this is crazy because now you have literally got people paying people so much money that they go away from big fights. And they're going to now try to stretch out Turki Alalsheik to paying them more and more money for worse and worse fights because he's already done it. Turki Alalsheik is doing pretty much the same type of thing that Errol Spence did in a negotiation with Terrence by saying that's the only fights he wants. This guy, and having people around him calling him excellency and saying we're going to spend any amount of money on anything. No, it's just not a good look. And as a result, it's becoming harder to actually make fights. And that is according to Eddie Hearn. So let me tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what it is. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.